you're gonna do harm doing a graphic design. Like, are your lines gonna be too sharp? They're gonna cut somebody.
Doctor marketing person. Marketing doctor. PhD.
Ooh.
Abby Herbacek. That's me.
Shit.
I'm always nervous about like saying the wrong thing about my job. There's like rules too. Like I can't say I'm a graphic designer, even though that's basically what I do. I'm a marketing specialist one. That sounds so bitchy. Like I'm not gonna say that. From what I've heard,
I think if you just say you're a marketing specialist, it's not too bad. But the minute you're like, I'm a marketing specialist, rank 1, it's like a little silly.
Rank 1.
Yeah.
I might be getting a promotion in March. We'll see.
Ooh.
Marketing specialist 2, here I come. Probably not, though.
Look at her go.
All right. So, what'd you think of the movie?
Right to the point. I like it. I really enjoyed this movie. But also, I think we're going to notice a theme here that, like, let's be real. I'm going to enjoy basically any movie, you know? Like, I might think critically about it. I don't know. But for most of my life, about the worst I can say about movies is like, it was okay. So if we ever hear on, it was okay from me, that's how you know it was probably bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm like, I had a good time. I got to hang out with my friends and watch a movie and, you know, be taken to a different place for, how long was this movie? Like 2 hours?
Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty long movie.
Yeah. So, you know, like, I enjoyed myself. I do think this is a good movie, though. So, there's that too.
So, unlike Alex, I think movies be bad sometimes.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I think I'm pretty easy to please.
You know, also, when we went, we have a spreadsheet of, like, movies we want to watch. And I didn't pick the ones that were, like, bad or, like, were known to be bad. Or, you know, I went through my anime list and I picked, like, the top ones.
Yeah.
And there's a few I don't recognize. And those might be bad.
We'll find out.
But anyway, we've gotten all bangers so far. Like, actually, I would say the worst one so far is Blue Giant. Yeah, I know that hurts.
Yeah,
but
that
like
hurts
the
me
visuals
because,
were bad.
Yeah. I mean, okay. If you haven't heard our little episode on Blue Giant, then you should definitely give that a listen. Oh my god,
what are you doing
after
here?
You listen to this one? This one's more important right now. Please don't click away. I don't know how that affects our metrics, but I'm going to assume it's bad.
Oh yeah, our metrics of 15
our
listeners.
Very important metrics of my mommy. So in that case, Mom, I don't know if you remember our first episode on Blue Giant, but
Cute.
I thought the story was very big good, and I liked it a lot.
The story was great.
Yeah, and to me, I think the story, certainly in my memory, kind of makes up for some of the animation crunchiness they had. But that's just me. That's because, you know, I'm like, wow, the story was so good, you know? And then when I go back and remember it, I can redo the movie, and I can make the animation good in my memory.
I actually found a viral clip on TikTok of like they had like good animation sometimes of like what it was supposed to look like. Yeah. And the one where I forgot his name, the saxophone boy was playing, went viral on TikTok, and people were like, "What is this? It's amazing."
And then it's like, watch out.
Yeah. The CGI people, you know, jump scare.
I'm trying to remember their names. Like, Yukinori CGI can't hurt you. Yukinori CGI, like, Slendermaning at you.
And it's so stupid. Like, honestly, stills would have been so much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can look back on it and be like, yeah, that was pretty crunchy. But, like, I don't know, it's such a good time. I like the music. It was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
I cared about my boys.
And when I said it was, like, the worst one we've seen, I meant that in, like, and can you believe that? It's still a pretty good movie.
It's still a pretty good movie. Definitely go watch Blue Giant. Like, I forget what I rated it. I don't know.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen a bad anime movie. The worst one I've ever seen was the quintessential quintuplets movie that I saw in theaters. But it wasn't even that bad. It was just like anime show quality, and watching it on a huge movie theater screen was kind of hard to watch.
Okay, yeah.
And also, it's a harem anime.
So you're in the theater watching a harem anime movie and you're like, I'm normal.
Bro, oh my god, that was an experience. I like that anime, and I knew I was getting into, but surprisingly, people who go to watch anime harem movies, they don't smell good, and they are loud, and they, like, exclaim loud things in the theater a lot.
Womp womp.
I know, and, like, there was a guy next to me and I saw this with John, because John's a sweet angel, and he will do anything for me. And I could tell who he was cheering for, because the girl he liked the most, because he would just go, I think her name is Miku, I can't remember, but he'd go, "Oh, Miku,
Hatsune Miku?
Miku, ooh," and then his girlfriend would be like, "Shut up." Shut the fuck up.
Like, stop.
Can you imagine competing with an anime girl?
I could never. I would lose. I got too much dimensionality. Be your 2D anime waifu, I'm very sorry. Like,
bro, you know, I think I would be okay. Like,
you're like, I would win.
No, like, I got boobies and ass. You know, I'm not the cutest, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not the cutest ever, but I got boobies and ass and a hell of a personality, and I can make John laugh, and anime waifus can't cook you dinner and lunch, so.
That's true. I don't know if we want to like go deep into it, but like I could say a lot of words on this.
Can I compete with anime waifu?
No, I'm just saying you forgot that like I don't want to generalize the people who have 2D anime waifus, but I think some of them potentially would maybe not be inconvenienced by so much as just not know what to do with like a person with like an entire personality in life outside of their projected image of what girlfriend should be, you know? Part of why having 2D anime waifu is good is because you don't have to talk to real people, and she can be whatever you want, baby, you know? So.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean, you know? Like.
Or nuanced as hell. That was great.
I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes it's easier to, you know, have pretend girlfriend in your brain.
Girlfriend in your brain.
Real girlfriend in real life, because that's a whole other person. And sometimes that can be scary.
Yeah, I get that. And, you know, like, I don't got husbandos, but I'd be like, dang. You know, I'd be thinking people are cute on TV screen. And actually, my recent husbando lately has been animated Superman.
Oh, and the TV show.
Yeah. I'm going to like rant about this at the end.
Okay.
And I'm going to save it and swallow it because I could talk about it for like 2 hours.
Keep that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
We got to talk for 2 hours about the
That was my
movie.
pocket.
Why your pocket sounds so slimy?
I don't know. Ew.
Why you got a slime pocket?
It's my waifu pocket.
Oh no! Your slime pocket or slocket is upsetting to me.
Bro, merch idea?
Oh
a
no!
Slocket?
We're not doing that.
Okay, so what I thought in the movie, since you so kindly asked me.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think of the movie, Abby?
Well, I really did like it. I have never seen this anime style before.
Yeah, it was extremely stylistic in a very fun way.
Yeah, and it was fluid as fuck. Like, the only thing I mean, you know what? This isn't even a complaint, but like, every once in a while, I'd be like, that looks like a King of the Hill character. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say that, like, one thing I appreciate about the art style for this movie is that, like, they let people look like people, in that not everyone is going to be like airbrushed and completely photogenic all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, there's
no big eyes in this.
Yeah, there's a little bit of crust, you know? And I guess that translates to some of them look like King of the Hill characters.
Yeah, just every once in a while. Like, it's really weird. It's usually background characters.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, that man is definitely from Arlen or whatever.
Yeah.
Where are they from? Arlen.
Yeah. You watch that and you look at that one background person, you're like, that boy ain't right. Tell you what.
I like the idea of that just because, like, so there is, like, a person with a deformity who's like,
oh,
why?
No!
That boy ain't right. That's basically,
they
like.
probably did say that. Poor guy. All right. Do we want to get into it?
Yeah. Wait, let me get my.
Yeah, we got to get our little drinkies ready.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a fun little, like, ASMR treat for me every time we edit it. Let's get cracking.
Oh, no, I fucked it up.
Oh,
okay,
dear.
wait.
Okay. You splurting over there?
I splurted.
I'm so sorry. Don't ever let me talk, ever. Delete this podcast. I don't need to say splurting ever again. I already said it twice. Terrible.
Wait, what did you call the pocket?
No, if I make a bad joke, we need to leave it in the past. I don't want to bring that up again.
I already forgot. I'm an In-N-Out person.
I'm forgetting it on purpose. Ooh, so I'm drinking a tasty little IPA. Secretly, it's the same one that Abby bought for me when we did the first podcast, because I just have like one of these, and then sometimes I bring a beer from home.
And I don't drink IPAs, so they've been living in my fridge.
But I had like a real bitter, real hoppy IPA before this, and so now drinking this one, I'm like, ooh, there's like some little notes of honey, you know, which 100% I would not notice if I had not had something that was like extremely bitter beforehand. So
yeah, we never really talk about what we drink.
Yeah, I mean, like, should we make a little thing?
Yeah. The first episode, like, I had I think it's like a hard seltzer, and I got too steepy, and I think you can kind of tell that I get a little cranky at the end. I mean, I wasn't mean or anything, but I was just not enthusiastic anymore.
You're like, yeah, whatever, Alex, your fun facts are like lame.
These are mild facts.
These facts are not fun. I'm not having fun.
But anyway, since then I'm like, no more alcohol during podcasting, and I'm drinking a cranberry Sprite. It's very good.
A Crate Spranberry.
Crate.
Spranberry.
Yeah. All right, so let's get started on the summary.
Yeah, hit it.
So we open, and I was just telling Alex, I made 0 notes about what the narrator said in the first, like, 2 minutes of this film, but he says stuff.
He does say words.
He does say words.
He narrates and everything.
And, like, you said you remembered him saying, like, basically, Back to the Future.
No,
like,
not that. He doesn't say Back to the Future.
What does he say?
So it starts, and it's like this very withered looking face, you know? Like, this person might as well be, like, carved out of, like, a tree, you know? Like, just, like, old and, like, real sinewy and, like, just, I don't want to say crusty looking, you know, but...
Crusty.
A little mild crust, yeah.
Mild crust, yeah.
But yeah, and so he says something to the effect of, like, for this story, we need to go back, you know? And it, like, flashes back a little bit, and he's like, no, further back.
Yeah, it starts in modern Japan.
Yeah, like modern day Japan.
And then it focuses on, like, different parts of modern Japan and, like, slowly has a time lapse back into...
like 600 years into the past.
Yeah.
It's very fun and cool to watch because while this is going on, you can hear a biwa playing, and if you don't know what a biwa is, you'll find out soon. Keep watching the movie. It's a big part of it. It's a musical instrument, and you will learn what it looks like pretty soon. But yeah, it sounds very cool. It kind of reminds me, in my extremely, like, uncultured sense, it reminds me of a shamisen. I think shamisen sounds awesome.
What is that?
It's a traditional Japanese instrument.
Oh.
Based on my extremely cursory research, the biwa is more of, like, an East Asian thing, you know? So it's not specific to Japan. And then I'm, like, 90% sure that shamisen is more specific to Japan. So, like, I don't know how the history tree of, like, stringed instruments in Japan goes, but...
Well, luckily for you, my PhD is in stringed instruments.
Perfect! Oh my god, please tell me everything.
I'm also a doctor in marketing.
Yeah. Wow. Is there a doctor on the plane? No, not a medical doctor, a marketing doctor. I need to sell this
Quick,
stuff
check the
fast.
finals. Anyway, that's a marketing joke. So
Sorry
all
for
these
making fun of
time
your doctorate
lapses.
degrees, your multiple ones.
What?
Sorry for making fun of your multiple doctorate degrees.
I worked really hard for that. I hope you
Yeah,
know.
I'm such a jerk. My bad.
It ends on this, like, shrine. All these time lapses, they end on a shrine, right? The shrine will come back later. And then it cuts to a man opening a box with bloody handprints all over it.
He, like, goes into this room, and there's so many masks on the wall, you know, like, for no theater masks. I mean, once again, I don't know everything about everything, but I'm assuming these are no theater masks because, spoiler alert, this dude does no theater, so it would make sense that all the masks are for that.
Well, you know, I have a PhD in theater as well.
Oh, thank goodness. God,
And I can concur.
Like, yep, I saw that and I said, yep. Man walks into a dang old, you know, building and has got all these masks up on the wall and it's, shoot, man. I mean, the lighting's gone all spooky.
Have you ever... We have a friend that looks just like Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Wait, who looks like Boomhauer?
Matt
looks like Boomhauer.
I know, and it's so funny because he's a bit of a Casanova as well, just a little bit.
I want Matt to do King of the Hill Boomhauer for me. Like,
Yeah.
I want him to dress up and for me to go, very nice, good job.
I know, it's such a shame because John has dressed as Hank from King of the Hill.
That's so
his
good.
roommate has dressed as I forgot his
Dale.
name. Dale. And oh my god, it would be perfect.
That'd be so good.
It'd be so good. I guess it would have to be Peggy, which I'm kind of okay with. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway,
And I can be the fourth one,
Wait,
whose name I forgot.
You're Bobby.
Dad! I
You're
was
our
saying I could
son.
be. Oh, dang it! What's his name? I feel so bad. Bill. I was saying I could be
Oh,
Bill.
you could be
'cause
Bill.
I'm good at radiating pathetic energy. You know, it's a little talent I have.
Not
Hank,
definitely
I was
not
wondering-
Bill type pathetic.
Hank, Hank, I was wondering, if you ever die, could I marry Peggy for you? Wait, I'm realizing that Bill's voice is like
The Obvies.
it's close. It's
Yeah.
it's you know it's along the
Obvies
same.
her dog, by the way.
Obviously my dog. I love her so much, and her voice is more like this. And she'll be like, "Mom, can we please go outside because it's raining and I want to drink sky water?" And I'm like, "Please don't drink puddles. You've had Giardia before." And she's like, "I'm stronger now. I'll fight it. I'll win." And I'm like, "No, you're gonna poop yourself." She's like, "Why would you say that on your podcast to the whole internet? That's so rude." Anyway,
I also have a PhD in the way you talk to your dog.
me and you both, sister. Man, like I pioneered that field.
All right, so
But yeah, so the dude goes into like the spooky shack of masks, and I say that because they made the lighting really spooky. It was like coming from below, you know, like very much like I'm gonna tell a scary story around the campfire and put my flashlight under my chin. That's like kind of the vibe. And then he goes and he grabs the box that's covered in bloody handprints. So you know, all the masks look regular, probably in regular lighting, but right now they're looking kind of a little spooky scary.
Yeah. And he pulls out this purple mask and has these really big eyes.
With like spirals.
Yeah, and it's like doing these really cool cuts between that and like him starting to dance with the mask on. There's like fire everywhere. It looks like people may be having like orgies or something around him. There's at least people around.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember there being an audience other than like his wife.
No, his wife was... I thought someone was helping his wife. I don't remember.
I don't remember if his wife was in the audience or if she was just like in a different place. There's a lot going on visually and like stylistically in like the first like 5 minutes of the movie, so I'm a little fuzzy on the particulars.
This is a very artsy film.
It's a good movie.
You know, as we were watching it, I was like, this is gonna be really hard to describe. But
that's
anyway,
when we get to say, go watch it for yourself and find out.
Oh yeah. But his wife, his presumably wife, is also there, and she's giving birth, we think. Her belly is like doing that thing they do in horror movies where it looks like the baby's like crawling
like
around.
punching.
The belly, it's like doing wiggles and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she gives birth to like this gray blob.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of defining features. The fact that there's not a lot of defining features is for real in the movie and not just me remembering bad.
Yeah.
Which it's in our notes. It happened for real.
For sure.
But yeah, everyone is low-key horrified.
Oh, yeah.
At what happens. Like the midwife or whoever's with her definitely does a big scream. Big yell.
So there are other people there.
There's at least like a midwife.
Yeah.
There's 2 people in the audience. And she said, hold on a second, honey. I'm going to give birth really quick.
Yeah. And Dad's like, all right.
Cool. I'm just going to keep dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the narrator says this takes place 600 years ago. Fun fact, the Wikipedia says 900 years ago, but that is incorrect.
That's
according to my PhD in this movie.
What I read in the little interviews that I go and collect for the fun facts, I was seeing about 600 years. So sorry, Wikipedia, you're wrong.
Wrong.
I'm
not like area enough to go change it myself though.
Yeah, but that's why you shouldn't use Wikipedia as a source because you can edit it.
Like me, but I have a PhD in it, so it's okay.
Yeah, it'd be okay if you edited it.
So it goes from this lady giving birth to a battle on a river between 2 armies in boats and stuff. And that kind of fades away to slowly like show that all the wreckage from that battle is still in the river.
Because like there were so many boats.
Yeah.
You know, and they had projectiles and whatnot.
I forgot the term.
And there was one shot of an older lady and like a young kid tying themselves to a box and being pushed into the river. And that becomes relevant later. But like not a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of tangential, but like they explain it. So
You know, I was thinking about that later. Like this first part kind of is not relative to the rest of the plot.
Like it is because it sets up a lot of
I guess it sets up some themes, but
we'll get to it when we get to it.
A little boy dives into this river. Now, assumably, like several years later, to kind of like scavenge around. And like, I was watching this with Alex and her partner, and they were both like, dang, he got lungs. Like,
yeah, no,
he was
like
down there forever.
Like, the river looks deep, and I'm pretty impressed by people who can swim good, because we did swimming for a little while as a fun little, like, I'm an adult and I should exercise, and maybe I can trick myself into liking swimming. Fun fact, I can't, because I like breathing.
I'm actually gonna go back in January again, because like when we were doing it, we were trying to avoid the gym.
Oh, yeah.
For New Year's.
Yeah. I mean, depending on when you go, I might be down to go back, but like, there's a reason I don't do swimming as my big exercise. I do karate, and it's because karate happens in the air, where you can breathe whenever you want.
I'm gonna go back to it because I was running a lot and I injured my foot and I can't.
Oh yeah, no, swimming is low impact. So
yeah, I really miss running, and you know, every once in a while I'll like run again, and it's really nice because I'm like, ooh, I can still run a whole ass mile. Wow. Dang, I know.
Couldn't be me.
But then my foot injury will come back, and I'm like, damn it. So
is there like a way to fix that, like long term, or are you just
no? You just have to let it heal, and
well, I mean, how long does it take to heal?
Like months and months. It's planar. It's like
plantar fasciitis?
Yeah. And I was running on it for a while, like a few weeks before I realized it was like not a good thing to do. Yeah. So, but anyway, so he's diving for things. He sees a hermit crab with a skull as a shell, which is totally metal.
So rad. I was like, this crab gets it. Like,
bro, yeah, he's
this
on his
crab
way
is
to Hot
punk.
Topic.
Yeah.
He finds something, but is unable to pull it out by himself because it's too big and heavy. We think it's that box that the little boy in was it a woman?
Yeah, it looked like, couldn't tell if it was like mom or grandma, but not a child. An
Not
adult
another child.
and a child.
Yeah. He decides to return home, and as he's pulling up to the beach, some other kids are like, "Hey, there's like people like visiting your dad." So he goes and runs to his house, and turns out there's a bunch of like fancy looking like aristocrat type people visiting his dad.
Yeah, and they wind up saying that they're from the Ashikaga shogunate. Like, they're there on behalf of the shogun, because the shogun wants some cool artifacts from the battle. And the battle of the Genji clan and the Heiki clan. And that's, like, the one that, started the whole thing. Started the whole movie, I mean. And so, after the battle where the Genji won and the Heiki lost, they're still looking to recover artifacts and stuff, like, for status. Because, based on me and my fiancé Sam's limited knowledge of Japanese history, we believe this is during the Ashikaga shogunate, which is when the shogun was like, "Hey, emperor, I'm going to do my own thing." And the emperor was like, "No, don't. Please. No, please. I'm the emperor." And the shogun was like,
Yeah.
"But I'm the shogun. I can do whatever I want."
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Stop me? I have all the samurai.
I think when I read that, that's the period this is in
Yeah.
on the Wikipedia. I didn't read too much into it because fun facts are not my job.
You could have sent them to me. But yeah, basically, the people that are there on behalf of the shogun are like, the shogun wants to be cooler and have more riz than everybody else, and he needs artifacts to do that. And I'm like, dang, just like me when playing Magic the Gathering. That's a lie. I don't use a lot. Well, no, I have some decks that use a lot of artifacts.
Okay. Sorry, I cooked my fiance. Ooh. Like, since the last podcast, he has proposed.
Yeah.
It's been very fun. But anyway, I cooked him dinner and left it in the fridge, and I had to tell him real quick, but...
Psh, what are you, a simp? Just kidding.
Bro, like...
Just kidding.
Yes, now I am.
You're like, nah. Do whatever you want, baby.
Bro, you gotta like save all... I was just telling you, Alex, like you gotta save all the wifey actions for when you got a ring on your finger. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Wait, so you kiss now? Ew!
Oh yeah, we waited that long. 3 whole years. Mm-hmm. We only held hands and only our pinky fingers for that. You know?
Now you get to use the whole hand. That's crazy.
I know.
You get to like...
Waffle it.
That's so intimate. Wow. So happy
We're
for
basically having sex.
What?
Oh shit. Okay, so it's the Shogun's people visiting his dad. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Hey, can you go get this artifact from the river?" And they said the Shogun saw this artifact in a dream, right?
I don't know if it was a shogun or just like one of his people, but someone, somewhere.
Yeah, it was kind of, you're right. It was like unclear.
Yeah.
So as they're talking, the little boy is like kind of watching from afar.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because like the kids he saw down by the river were like, "Oh my gosh, like your dad's talking to people from like, the shogunate, like you should totally go and like see what's going on, what's happening." And so he like goes and he climbs up the side of his house, like onto the roof to go eavesdrop. And it's kind of funny because at this point he just 100% gives up on eavesdropping and like lets his dad know that he's there. And the people from the shogunate are like facing away from the window, but his dad can just see him and is like, "Boy, why are you here?"
Yeah. And his dad seems hesitant, but the little boy is like nodding his head at his dad from where he is.
Yeah, like, "No, I've seen that. I just saw that. In fact, in the river. It's crazy."
So he says yes, and they go out together. So it's like his father, him, and these 2 people from the Shogun in a boat.
Yeah.
And they go
his
to
dad is enormous, by the way.
Bro, yeah.
He's such a large man.
Speaking of husbandos.
Yeah. Like, he's not fat. He's just a big guy. He's very tall and like, he's not spindly. Just like one of them broad dudes.
Dude, his belly button's so deep.
Stop! No, I don't want to bring it back to this.
But yeah, they go to the spot that they marked on the map, and Tomina and his father dive for it, and it's this giant box. And with his help from his father, who, as
is a grown man.
Yeah, they're able to get it onto the boat. They open it, and the Shogun people,
they start
Shogun
acting.
agents.
The
Shogun Junior 1, Shogun Junior 2.
I don't have... there's... Oh, dang it. There's a word.
Shogun Knights?
No, I almost want to say, like, courtiers, They're, like, people, like, that are, like, in his court. But, like, I don't know if that's the word
His
for them.
concubines.
They ain't his concubines. No, they're, like, I don't know. They're, like, his
that.
little... That's true. I guess we don't. They can be up to whatever they want. No, they're, like, his assistants or whatever, his little bureaucrats. His little, his gophers, Go for that. But yeah, they start acting like real scared. They're like, please don't open the box, please don't open the box. But like they don't say that. They're just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, they're just visually cowering, and the father's like, you bunch of pussies, basically, and is like, kind of like, okay, why are you acting weird?
Yeah, so he opens the box, and there's something sort of long and skinny wrapped up in silk. And so he takes the silk off, and it's a sword, like in a sheath, you know? And so he takes the hilt of the sword, and he draws it. And as he draws it, this like ridiculous blinding burst of light, like a slice, reverberates out from where he took it out of the sheath, and this blade of light basically goes over the heads of, you know, the shogun's assistants. It like lines up directly with Tomino's eyes, and it slices his dad in half, like fully in half, like. And you know, at the time.
I was thinking about it later. So the little boy, his name is Tomina, was sitting right behind his dad. And so his dad's body like blocked most of it, which is why he's only blinded.
Yeah, instead of like
cut in scalped.
Also.
Yeah. His body, like the father's body, it looks terrifying. The father's like, oh crap, and like starts putting the
has
sword
a couple
back.
Seconds
yeah,
of like, what was that, before the rest of his body catches up with the fact that he got sliced in half and probably shouldn't be alive.
The top half starts sliding off.
Yeah, nasty. And like you feel really bad because Tomino at this point is like, Dad, where'd you go? Dad, I can't see you. Hello? You know?
Yeah.
Because it turns out if you're unexpectedly blinded, it's probably going to be pretty jarring.
Bro, yeah. Going blind is literally my worst fear.
It wouldn't probably not be fun.
No.
A lot of our world is built around people seeing stuff.
Yeah. Being able to see. Anyway, when they finally get back, the Shogun people run away because they're so scared, assumably leaving the sword. It's kind of never...
I thought they would have taken it.
Yeah.
That's like what they came out there for.
I don't know. The sword, I don't think ever comes back up in the movie, which is why I was like, that's kind of weird.
I don't remember it being a thing after this.
And Tomina's mother is like crying and grieving and is like, my husband is dead and my son is blinded, and it's like super traumatic.
Yeah, she's like, how could this happen to me? Like, this is a terrible accident.
Honestly, fair.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to
Probably didn't wake up that morning thinking that was going to happen.
Bro, yeah. So Tomina, now older... Like, it cuts to Tomina, and he's a grown man now.
Well, I didn't think he was a grown man. I thought he was, like, 12.
Oh, maybe.
Because when it starts, he's pretty young. You know, he's, like, maybe, like, 8. Yeah, guesstimating-wise. So it cuts to, like, a couple years later, where he's definitely, you know, he has grown, and, like, he's, you know, sort of settled into his new way of life, but he still strikes me as, like, little baby boy, you know?
Little baby boy. Our baby.
Yeah.
And he is going on a journey to kind of figure out what happened to him. He's accompanied by the ghost of his father, which is super cool looking. And also, this is when the cool visuals really start kicking in. Mm-hmm. It's a completely white landscape, and things only come into view when they make sound.
Yeah, which is like just a really fun way of making us kind of come to terms with, oh yeah, like if we were blind, that would be the scope of our world, probably. Yeah. You know?
And like, you know, they cut back to like this view of him later, if I'm remembering right. Mm-hmm. And it gets more and more detailed as he gets older. It's really cool.
Like as he, you know,
gets used to it.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
And then this is when he starts hearing a man like sitting and playing on the road. He's playing a biwa.
I thought it was biwa.
Biwa. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a stringed instrument.
Who's bisexual.
Good for her. Good for her.
A little different than a straight wah.
Yeah.
A little more interesting. Has less rights.
It's got like blue hair and pronouns. Yeah, no, it's a stringed instrument. It kind of there is like another instrument that has sort of the same shape going on, but I don't remember what that one is called. It's basically like very round on the back end and then just like completely flat.
Well, I know what it is because my PhD in Japanese string instruments.
Cool. Do you want to share?
No.
Man.
You can read it in my next paper, but you have to pay $29.99 for it. So.
What if I give you like a little kiss instead?
Ooh.
A little discount?
Ooh. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Wait, you have a sore throat? No.
Not like right now. Your paper's not out yet.
Anyway, so this man on the road, it's really cool. So at first you only see his hands strumming the instrument and his mouth, and they're kind of like glowing orange a little bit.
Because I think he's also singing at this point.
Yeah, he's singing.
He's a busker.
And he's like, hey, hi, you know, cool that you're playing that. And he figures out that this man is also blind. And he's like, how are you playing a biwa if you're blind? And he goes, oh, well, we're all blind and we can all play the biwa. And then that's when
In
it
my
like,
special monk group where this is our whole deal.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
It was really cool. And when he says like, we all are blind, like his vision expands to like start noticing all these other people with biwas that are just not playing right now. Mm-hmm. He's like, what's your name? And he tells him Tamana, and he's like, what's your name? And he hands him like a little token with his name carved into it.
Tamana also has like a little like necklace with
Oh,
his name
right.
like carved into it.
Yeah.
And then the other guy whose name I forgot.
He's not that important. He's only the mentor.
Yeah. I feel bad because like he is a named character, but oops, I forgot what his name is. I do know that his name ends in Ichi because that is a thing that we'll find later on in the movie, that all the monks have their names changed so that like the second half of their name includes Ichi.
Okay, that makes sense. So he reads his name based on his little necklace that he hands him, and he's like, oh, can you read? And he's like, yeah, read this sign for us then.
Yeah, and so he like Tomino goes over and like, you know, feels it.
Yeah, fingers the sign.
Don't. Okay. He touches it and he feels the carvings because that's how carvings are. Insightful commentary. That's how
fingers
carvings
the
are.
grooves.
Stop! You nasty. My mommy's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna edit this out.
Sorry, Lori. And anyway, he's like, it's this river. And they're like, oh, yay, we made it. And it does a cool, like, camera sweep over the river.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's the river Dano.
Is it that river?
I think so, because they kind of only mentioned one river in the whole movie, and so I'm just gonna keep assuming it's the same river.
That's fair.
Fair. But the Dano-Ura is a river, so it's probably pretty long. And this is the river where the battle between the Genji and the Heiki took place. It's an important river.
Yeah. Wait, you say the Heiki?
Heiki.
Heiki. Okay, that makes sense.
Or
later. They'll come up later.
Yeah.
Anyway, they cut to later. Turns out Tomina is trying to join this group, which makes total sense for him because he's blind. And he has to change his name to Tomichi for reasons that Alex just explained.
Yep. That's part of the rules when you join the monk order. They have the warrior cat's naming ceremony, and they change your name suffix, just like in the books.
I was going to save this for later, but I totally listened to the first Warrior Cats book
Okay.
on Spotify.
Oh my god.
It's good. It's really good.
I told you!
Bro.
I'm not just out here full of middle school nostalgia. Well, okay, it was elementary school nostalgia. I am a little bit full of that. But also, I think they're fun and silly books.
Bro, and the
enjoyable.
narrator is so good.
The narrator's so good. Go listen to the audiobook narrated by McLeod Andrews. I don't know how he does that, but like
I literally thought it was Tom Kenny. I'm not even kidding.
He somehow, this man manages to pull out unique voices for literally every single character.
One. Yeah.
Like, you can tell, like, okay, when you, like, read a book, it's not always, like...
It's, like, woman voice, usually.
Yeah, but, like, also, you know, sometimes even just when you're reading it, you know, the written word will be, like, you know, character A said this, character B said this. What? I know, right? And it doesn't necessarily tell you which character said what, and, like, you can usually figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, usually it's just, like, this is my woman voice, and this is my man voice, and it's that's it.
Yeah, no, this man does it. He's
Dude,
good.
yeah. And, like, the main character sounds like... Who's Goofy's son? What's his name?
Max?
Max. It sounds like Max to me.
Oh my gosh.
Because he sounds like a cool, like, I'm a radical firepaw. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so...
I love his gray stripe voice.
So he has
Firepaw? I was wondering if you wanted to go over and have some fresh coat later from the fresh
Bro,
coat
that's
pile.
good. Yeah.
Oh my god, I did one good impression, and it's Grey Paw from Warrior Cats.
Yeah, it's good. Listen to it, it's free.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's changing his name to Tomichi. And his father's ghost pops up and is like, please don't change your name. When you change your name, it makes it really hard for spirits to find you.
Yeah, and his dad's like, I need to keep yelling at you, because, like, I'm not going to know peace until I figure out whatever my ghost deal is, you know?
Yeah.
And someone was like, yeah, but you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He kind of gives, like, zero shits about it, which I think he should do.
You think he should or should not?
He should
care.
do. Like, live your life, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is when we cut to a deformed child running around on all fours.
Yeah, so what with, like, sort of how the movie started, I did not know, like, how, like, supernatural the elements were going to be, and the answer is, like, a little bit.
Yeah, it's, like, magical realism.
Yeah, so
like
when we first see this character, just like Warrior Cat, Warrior Cats is not magical. Well, it is magical, but it's definitely not realism. That is for sure.
That's true.
These cats have intense social bonds, and rules and stuff. I could talk about warrior cats for so long. Petition to make a warrior cats podcast.
Bro, I
It's
was
me.
just thinking how, like, if I had like listened to warrior cats earlier, this podcast might be a warrior's cat. Because like, think about it, it'd be so smart. Because like,
so
people could listen to it on Spotify.
It'd be great.
And then listen to our podcast about it.
Yeah.
I'm mad about
Well,
it.
now we have 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Which is inconvenient because we don't have a lot of time.
Bro, I was finding it so difficult to start a podcast because people really didn't want to commit to it. And I didn't think you would want to, just because, I don't know, you're just a busy, popular like person.
I'm not popular. I just keep putting myself in situations.
Yeah, it's social situations where people want you to be there.
I'm such a fool. How could this happen to me?
But anyway, and as soon as I like started talking about this podcast and recording it, people were like, low key, were like, well, if you ever need a guest.
Oh my gosh, I know. It is very cute how all of her friends are like, I could be on your podcast maybe if you want me to.
Yeah, if you want.
Like, if you want me to, I'll be on it.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't ask people directly, but I don't know. Or no, I did ask people directly, and then they weren't interested in it until I had already done all the work. Well, Alex did half the work, but
No, you did a lot of the work.
you do like half the work now, though, I think.
Hopefully. I feel bad. I don't want to be dead weight, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, I was willing. I wanted to do a podcast so bad. I was willing to do all the work. So I'm very happy with the situation. So no complaints here.
I changed my mind. I want to do none of the work, actually.
Oh shit, I forgot. You take advantage of me all the time.
Just kidding.
Keep bartering for kisses.
That's true. You know me.
Bartering.
I'm a known kiss fiend. I'm like Rumpelstiltskin. I'm like, except instead of your firstborn, I'm like, give me 1 kiss.
Mine now.
Mine now. I will steal 1. You can put it on my forehead or my cheek or whatever. It doesn't have to be like lips, but
Meh.
this is a silly bit.
But anyway, so a deformed child runs around.
Right. So I feel really bad. I couldn't 100% tell how supernatural we're getting. So I was like, is this a monster? And the answer is no, it's just a kid who got a real bad shot.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
Cursed.
Yeah. I feel bad because everyone treats him really badly because of his
deformity.
limbs. Yeah. He's got very, very short, little stubby legs. He's got one really, really long arm and then one short arm that is basically just a hand that's grown out of the side of his face. And we can't tell what his face looks like because he's wearing a gourd mask, sort of to hide everything. But based on where the eyes are looking out of the mask, you can tell this is not like...
Yeah.
It's not super typical for where eyes usually go, so...
Yeah, his eyes are kind of like almost on top of each other instead of side by side.
Yeah. And so you feel really bad because, like, you know, little dude's covered in rags, you know? These are not, like, clothes that someone has lovingly made for him. It's very much like, here, wear this.
Rags,
you know, like, I don't want to see you. And when they feed him with the dogs, which is very sad, but the puppies were cute. So
The puppies were cute.
good puppies. 10 out of 10.
And his father, who was dancing in the beginning, is teaching his other sons, so the deformed child's brothers, how to dance a dance called No. N-O-H.
It's based on No theater, which is now traditional Japanese theater, but at the time, it was
cool.
Contemporary.
Yeah.
It was what they were doing, so, you know.
And the deformed child, he's not allowed to join in, but he likes to watch from like the outside, and he'll like replicate it in his own way with the stubby legs because he has like really short legs.
Yeah. But, like, you know, he's just, like, really taken by the joy of the art, you know, of performing, of moving your body around.
Yeah.
You know? So he gets
it
into
is very wholesome.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very sweet. He gets into it, you know, and he's just having a good time for himself. And is this when...
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, he's having a good time for himself. And, like, through him dancing and, like, you know, just sort of expressing himself in all of this, we see these, like, little red, like, sparkly glimmers that sort of form up around him, you know? They're, like, floating in the air. Just sort of, I don't want to say generic magical dust motes, but a little bit, you know? And it makes it so that his little stubby legs are longer legs. And they seem much more proportional.
Yeah, they seem like normal.
Yeah.
So he grows like 2 proportional legs?
They're much more average.
Average. Okay.
Yeah.
So he gets super excited about his new legs. He runs into town and starts like climbing all over everything.
Yeah, like, little man's going wild.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
He kind of has like superhuman, like acrobatic powers because of his long arm.
Yeah, like, he definitely has, like, a really good command over his body, you know? And, like, that's something that continues throughout the movie. Like, he never seems unsure of his movements, you know? He very much, like, works with what he has, you know, and, like, makes the most of it. So I'm not going to be like, he's an inspiration to us all, you know? But, like, it's very fun seeing his movements because they are so fluid and well animated, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, you know, he might have unconventional means of getting around, but, like, boy, does he get around, you know?
Yeah, he fast.
Yeah.
He's fast as fuck, boy.
Right? Like, he's climbing all over the place.
He's, like, scaring all the village people and stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of leaning into being a troublemaker at this point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was really cute. And he comes across Tomino, who is now Tomichi. And by the way, I'm just going to call him Tomoichi from now on, just to, like...
Yeah.
And he tells him, move, 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 and he's, like, running. And Tomoichi's on the bridge, and he's blind. So he's kind of like,
so he's like, someone's yelling at me, I don't know where to go.
Yeah. And so he stays still.
Yeah.
And the deformed son goes up to him, and he's like, what, are you blind or something? He's like, actually, yeah, I can't see. And he's like, oh.
Well, not yet, because
right.
He's like, hey, what are you, stupid? Why didn't you move? And he's like, why would I move? Like, this is the bridge. There's plenty of room for everybody. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll show you. Like, I'll scare you
off
good.
His mask.
Yeah. So he takes off his masks. We don't actually get to see.
Yeah, we never see his face, do we? Like his quote unquote ugly face.
Yeah, we never see his face while he is wearing a mask. And so, like, presumably his visage is so frightening that normal people would turn away, terrified. But Tomichi's just like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing?
Still dark in here.
He's like, you quiet? I don't know what's going on. He's like, huh, you're not scared? And he's like, scared of what? And he's like, my face? And he's like, I can't see you, so no. He's like, huh, weird.
Yeah. And then he notices that Tomichi is carrying a biwa.
Yeah.
The cool guitar, and is like, do you play that?
Yeah, I think it's very fun and cute that, at least in the sub, he's like, what are you carrying around that old beetle for? Because, like, it is, like, just a very beetle-like shape. And
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was just a fun little line, but I was like, that's
fun. Cute.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I can play it. I'm carrying it, you dingus. Yeah. And so he starts kind of getting into it.
He starts playing.
Yeah. The guy in the gourd mask, you know, starts busting it down to that, you know.
Busting it out sexual style.
Hey, well now.
Goated with the sauce.
He was goated with the sauce. I don't know if he was busting it down sexual style, though. That might be... That's for later in the movie, Abby.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even seen his final form yet. But yeah, and so, I don't know, it's just, like, a very cute moment, because, like, these are both, like, two kids, you know? And clearly they haven't, you know, each been dealt a very good hand thus far, you know? Like, their lives are certainly not easier than they could be. But, like, you know, they get to have this little moment of connection, you know? You know, doing music and dancing with each other. And so, I don't know, it's just a very cute, sweet moment. I think the visuals here go hard also, because they meet, I think, like, at night. As Tomoichi starts playing, we start getting a lot of really cool sort of, like, star and, like, space visuals.
That's right. Yeah, they kind of float into space visually.
Yeah, and so it's just very fun, you know? I like it when they represent art in a non, you know, strictly one-for-one style. It's fun and cool.
Yeah. So they're dancing. They kind of, like, form a bond. Tomichi asks him his name, and he kind of replies that everyone will know his name when he takes the stage.
Yeah. He says something really heartbreaking in that he says no one's given him a name yet, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, I feel bad. I feel bad for this boy.
Yeah. And then later they meet on a cliff. I forgot how they meet on the cliff. Maybe they just...
Yeah, it's sort of implied that, like, they keep hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
You know? And they've, I think, grown up a little bit at this point.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because they were still pretty young. Tomichi was...
Teenager?
Like a younger teenager, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was 12 because he's been traveling a little bit with his mentor, like, learning, you know, the biwa and all the Buddhist chants and stuff. But he's not, like, the oldest that we see him in the movie. That's how time works.
Yeah.
He's not, like, fully aged up yet. I think he's probably, like, I don't know, like 16, 17 or 18 maybe.
Yeah. He's young man at least.
Yeah.
And so they're hanging out on this cliff, and they wonder... Like, so Tomichi is kind of like, you know, I wonder if you're, like, cursed by spirits.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't we ask my dad, you know?
Yeah, well, the guy in the mask, who is yet unnamed, is kind of like, okay, maybe I'm cursed. Why don't you ask some spirits about it?
And he's like, okay, I will.
Wait, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, it's very silly.
So he calls his dad, and his dad is able to find him, but he's actually tiny now.
Yeah, he's very little. Yeah. Like, before he was kind of, I don't want to say an overwhelming presence, you know?
He was,
but he, like, was very loud and took up a lot of the screen real estate. You know, he took up a lot of the frame. And now he's like, itty bitty guy. And, oh, at this point, he has like a little chipmunk voice.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
And I assume it's because,
he's like, Domino, why'd you change your name? How am I supposed to find you?
I assume it's because, like, Tomichi kind of forgot about him, and so he's kind of fading.
Yeah. And, like, he also changed his name, which we've established makes it difficult to find someone.
And so he asks his dad to, like, reveal the spirits to him, and he does. And there are hundreds of little red spirits all around
They're almost like little sprites.
Turns out they're the Heike for one of the warriors that were in that war on the river. Mm-hmm. And they're telling the masked man their stories, and you just couldn't hear them before.
Yeah, they're kind of, like, clinging to him, hoping that, like, he'll, through dance, tell their side of what went down on the river.
And they're like, oh, we gotta tell these stories.
Yeah.
And so this is when shit gets crazy. Mm-hmm. They decide to perform together. And Tomichi, I have a note in here that says Tomichi changes his name to Tomari.
Yeah, Tomari.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I added that in before we started. Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, just because I don't know if we want to, like, start talking about, like, themes and stuff later. But I think the fact that names are very important speaks to, like, a small theme that I, in my own little point of view, picked up on. So we'll get into that later.
Ooh, okay. And they perform on the bridge. There is nothing leading up to this, so I was kind of shocked.
It hits you like a truck.
Yeah.
Like,
you were aware of it because I think you watched the trailer.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't?
No, I think I, like, had read a synopsis, you know, like, you know how when you Google things nowadays, it'll be like, here's a little paragraph that we pulled from just whatever website has the most hits, you know, on people liking this. And I was like, cool, this movie sounds neat. And then I purposely tried not to read anything else about it because I like going in blind, baby.
Yeah, and I'm glad we did because, like, his biwa doesn't sound like a biwa anymore.
Yeah, well, you get a little bit of biwa, but all of a sudden it's also got like some electric guitar notes.
Bro, yeah.
And this man starts moving and grooving.
Is he shirtless yet? He's like the most clothed in this scene, in this performance than any other performance he does.
Yeah, like as the movie goes on, he slowly gets a little bit more slutty, which is great. We love to see it, you know?
The Wikipedia says it sounds like hair metal, but I don't know hair metal enough to concur. But
I mean, it's definitely rock and roll. I don't know if we want to get into like subgenres. So hey, my mom might know. She was at least alive during hair metal times.
You know what, Lori?
So, hey, mom, can you watch this movie and then tell me if you think it sounds like hair metal, or like just watch the YouTube video? That'd be cool. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Maybe it sounds especially like hair metal in the dub.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because we watched the sub.
Yeah.
Because I like subtitles.
I wonder what they did. I feel like the dub, like, I don't know.
The sub was great.
Watch the sub probably, but.
Watch whatever is your jam, but we enjoyed the sub. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So Tomari is performing by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Gourd-Face hasn't showed up yet. Gourd-Mask-Face hasn't showed up yet.
Yeah.
And he's telling the story of a deformed son, presumably Gourd-Face.
Yeah.
And he's like doing all this crazy moves. He's like climbing on top of the bridge and playing the biwa behind his head and doing backflips off the side. And
yeah, like this man is channeling Jimi Hendrix, and it's a great time.
Yeah, and it's a small crowd at first. But as he does more performances like this, more people show up. But it's a small audience for this one.
Yeah, but they're still like, what is this man doing? This is new. We've never seen this before, you know?
Yeah.
This is novel. We're having a great time.
And then, so when his performance ends, we cut to below the bridge where the deformed son starts to perform his performance. What a good sentence, Abby. And he unravels a sheet. And this is where we see his name for the first time. And it's Inu-Oh.
Yeah, Inu-Oh.
Which means Dong King.
Yeah. So, like, this boy that has, you know, grown up being fed with the dogs is like, fine, you know what? King of the dogs, baby.
And he's dancing. I love the way they animate the dancing in this movie.
Oh, it's so cool. All of the movement in this movie are like, it's so fluid and so crisp at the same time. There's really good forms, you know, there's really good like fluidity. It's God, go look at it, your eyeballs will be pleased.
Yeah,
like 10 out of 10. This is just the opposite of the extremely herky-jerky CGI scenes in Blue Giant.
Man,
go heal your eyeballs.
You know, I'm really curious to know if this movie made money.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. It's really hard to look up numbers for obvious reasons, but
yeah.
Okay, and his performance is about the Heike warriors losing their arms in battle. And it's super cool. Like, So he's on a wooden stage, and in between the slats of the stage, arms are popping up.
Yeah, they're like made out of bundled straw and like rope and stuff.
Yeah, and he's controlling them somehow, like a puppet. But we don't know how.
But like, man, my little technical theater nerd heart was like just singing. I was like, how did they do all this? Because obviously it's a movie made up of drawings. It's not 100% based on reality, but it all looked like it would have been possible to do, because ancient Japanese theater, like, they had a lot of really cool stagecraft going on. I'm not gonna lie.
They do. There's like lots of special effects. It's really cool, and it's like period specific ones, like like that are still neat.
It very much looks like stuff that could have been made at the time.
Yeah,
I say with my
and he also
generalist knowledge.
During the performance, he kind of hides his long arm. He makes it look like he has two normal or average size.
Yeah, he's wearing like a
giant cloak.
He's wearing a big cloak. He's wearing a big mask with a lot of big hair and a big hat. It's a very big outfit.
Yeah.
You will know what I mean if you see the scene, because like that one adjective, big. But he's wearing a prosthetic arm
to make up for his short arm.
Yeah. And he's keeping his very, very long arm kind of tucked in. And he uses it to great dramatic effect later on.
Yeah.
Because he's telling the story of a bunch of Heike warriors who wound up...
They tied their arms to their boats.
Yeah. They wound up going overboard. And so they either tied their arms to the boat, or they were all trying to reach up and grab onto the boat that was like held by the enemy. And so the enemy said, nope, you're not getting on this boat. And so they chopped off all their arms. And so later, after the battle, people were trying to like find the survivors, and all they got were a bunch of severed arms that washed up on the beach.
Yeah.
Which is
terrifying.
That's a bad day.
And then at the end of the song, Inu-Oh, like how he gained his 2 legs earlier, gains 2 average length arms.
Yeah. So like through telling the story and like,
performing.
Yeah, performing and like
just spirits.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that he's like putting these spirits to rest. But
like
in
he's giving them closure.
Yeah, in the sense that like he's telling their side of the story, they're able to kind of chill out in the way that spirits sometimes need to do.
So Inu-Oh and Tomai perform again. They kind of perform like, I think, is it 2 times or 3 times in a row? They perform several times and kind of like a montage-esque thing.
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of great. So one thing about all the musical numbers in this movie is they don't cut out at any point. Like, you get the full song and the full performance.
Legitimately, like, at least a third of this movie is just musical performance.
And it's kind of great.
It's
like,
great.
If you're not a fan of musicals, maybe you're not going to like it, but it's not a musical in the sense... not in like the Western theater sense where everyone...
Hello, my baby. Hello, my dog.
Yeah, it's not, Oklahoma or the wind. Like, it's not that,
Yeah.
But like, you get to see the full song beginning to end. And like,
and it's not boring.
It's not boring. I had a great time. I enjoyed it.
And I tend to think those types of things are boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I was engaged. I was, kind of wiggling, kind of moving and grooving, in my seat. I was like trying not to be too disruptive because we were all on my couch, and I was trying not to... disruptive to the movie, but I was also like, I was definitely like, I was like tapping my little feet, I was
I don't know how this started though, but like, so every time I go watch a movie with Sam and Alex and her partner, I'm always sitting in the middle. And it's like the energy of like, we saw you across the bar and we really liked your energy.
I don't know, me and Sam just like the extreme ends of the couch. That's just like where we wound up. That's like our normal spots.
I like it. I don't mind because I usually like if there's a blanket involved. I always
you
get the
on
blanket.
that blankie action.
Yeah.
I have to be really careful with the blankie when we're watching a movie because I 100% will fall asleep if I even lean back and get cozy a little bit.
Bro, I was so worried about Phantom Inverted because you fell asleep in it, and I was like, oh, is she gonna remember?
It was thankfully y'all called me out on it like real early, and y'all were like, you're asleep, and I was like, you're right, my bad. So I sat up. I stopped being comfy cozy.
All right, so getting back to the performances, so they perform again. This time the crowd is a little bit more bigger. It's kind of reminiscent of Beatlemania where the girls are starting to scream a little, Yeah.
Also, like, dudes start breakdancing in the crowd, which I love.
Oh yeah. Like, the background characters just start breaking it the hell down.
Yeah, they're just busting it down. Like, it's very fun to watch everybody, like, get very into the performance. And, like, during all of this, in the lead up in between songs, we hear background people being like, "Oh my gosh, Inu-Oh's gonna perform! Yeah, Tomari and his troupe are gonna like perform. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen down on the
And
bridge.
sometimes you're taking the audience members away from his father's
which is
performances.
very fun and spicy. And
they also start to get bodyguards, which is funny, where they just have like, I don't know who hired them, but like police type people.
Yeah, like if you've ever been to like a general admission show where they have like the dudes at the barricade, they're like, can't get close to the stage. That's these guys.
Yeah,
you know?
they have those.
Yeah, which is just very funny to see because they're still mostly performing on bridges. I don't know what's up with that.
It's the same bridge like every time, right?
Maybe. I mean, going back to the river, it could just be the bridge.
I didn't connect that.
Over that river. Could be.
And then Tomei like gets slowly more and more slutty. Tomai. Am I saying that right?
Tomoari.
Tomoai is just getting sluttier and sluttier, and he has the best fucking pants I've ever seen.
He has the coolest pants, and like also, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looks like he's wearing a little G-string under his pants.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I was like thinking to myself,
it's a look, you know.
I was like, if men, I mean, obviously not day to day,
yeah,
but if like men in concert or even at the club started wearing shit like this, I'd be all over it. Men's fashion needs to catch the hell up because it's always like
Tomoari
slacks.
Yeah, Tomoari definitely starts low-key reminding me of Prince, you know?
Yeah.
Just in that like he's going for it. He's got some looks and like he's not afraid to like, you know, be a little feminine.
Yeah.
Which is just like I don't know, it's very fun and refreshing to see.
They're both Inu-Oh and Tomai.
Yeah, Tomoari.
Tomai.
There's an R in there.
No, you didn't put an R in there.
Yeah, I did.
Tomoaei.
No, I meant to do ARI.
Oh, okay.
That's my bad.
Okay. So the second performance that Inu-Oh does is A Whale That Never Arrived. And it's really neat. So like the sheet he was using earlier has become twice as tall.
Yeah, like this man has an entire stage set up.
Yeah,
know?
and
like,
he has people like helping him do lighting now too.
Which so tasty for me. The fun fact, that's what my college degree was about.
For real, it's not a bit anymore.
This isn't a bit. This is legitimate. Like I have a bachelor arts in theater and dance, design and technologies. That's backstage stuff, baby. So this man started bringing out fun lighting effects, and I was like, oh my god, is this like a very early like scrolling gobo? That's crazy.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Kind of, yeah. It's been a while since I was into business, but any of my fun industry contacts want to listen in and comment, please feel free. Correct me. I'm stupid.
That's also Lori.
It's also my mom. No, just kidding. She has a very different background.
So they're using like metal buckets to like project lights onto the sheet. And at first they're shaped like dolphins. And then all the dolphins like converge. And then it creates this giant whale across.
Huge whale.
This huge whale. And he tells the story of the whale that never arrived. I don't remember the contents of the story.
From what I remember, it was like the Heike were looking for omens, I guess. And it was kind of like, oh, once you see the whale arrive, you know, you'll know that tide of the battle is turning and like you got this. And then the whale never came and they lost.
Oh, okay.
That's what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So at the end of this performance, Inu-Oh loses the scales on his back.
So we like, okay, he keeps himself pretty covered and we don't super have an understanding of like what the scales on his back look like.
They were mentioned before, but we never saw them.
They were mentioned, but like we never saw them. And I wasn't expecting this. This man looked like an alligator back there.
Bro, yeah, he looked like an armadillo.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, yeesh, don't blame you. You know, I was like, oh, does he have really dry skin? Nope, literal scales.
He's a little scaly.
He's a little scaly boy. But yeah, so like, I kind of get the vibe that like, you know, he's doing all of this, like, yes, in part to see what changes will come to his body. But like, he's also, I think, pretty invested at this point in like just telling the stories and getting to perform, you know?
Yeah, like he really likes to.
And like he wants to tell the story of the dead, like KK warriors. So
word of their performances have reached the Shogun. His name is Ashikaga.
Yeah.
Who is really particular about what kind of high-key stories are told.
Yeah. Well, so from what I could tell, he's a descendant of the Genji clan.
Oh.
So he's.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he's kind of invested in making sure that, like, his family and his clan have the good stories told about them and not so much about the lame dudes they defeated. But yeah, he's also very particular in what type of performances he likes. Like,
yeah, he's a traditionalist and he likes no.
Yeah, but he also, he kind of makes it a point to say he doesn't like the type of performances that Inu-Oh's dad puts on. He likes this completely unrelated troupe.
Yeah, that's
that has
true.
like
His like competitor.
Yeah, he likes his competitor. The competitor has like a little pretty boy as like the lead, you know.
That he has like a crush on. That's
yeah,
right.
a little bit. I don't know. He's like making eyes, you know. Like he hears about Inu-Oh and he's like, the son of the dude whose art I don't like. Let's see how this goes. But it turns out that the Shogun's wife is like getting
super into it. She wants to see this guy.
She needs to see what goes on.
So he sends his agents, the Shogun sends his agents to gather more information. And this is when they talk to Inu-Oh's dad to try to like get a contact with him. And the dad starts freaking out because he's like thinking they're inviting him to go perform for the Shogun.
Oh, right. And it's like, nah, we want your son actually.
Yeah. And he's like devastated.
Because like all this man has wanted is to be famous.
Yeah. And like offhandedly, it's kind of unclear what the Shogun's agents, what they mentioned this for, but he's like basically like, you know, his wife is pregnant. And if Inu-Oh shows his face and upsets the pregnant wife, that might be a problem.
Right.
So his dad finds Inu-Oh and he's like, guess what? The Shogun wants you to perform for him, but he wants you to take your mask off in the last performance.
Right. And Inu-Oh's like, yeesh.
Oh, no.
I don't know about that. Right. So at this point, Inu-Oh then goes and has brunch with the Shogun's people. And they're like, I hear you're really like ugly under that mask. Is that why you like always have your mask on? And someone else is like, no, I hear he's really hot. And like that's why he keeps his mask on, because he'd be like too distracted. And Inu-Oh's like, haha, keep watching and find out. I'm not gonna tell you, you know.
It's all a mystery. He's being being a showman about it.
Yeah, he's like being very vague and charismatic. And so then he like goes back. This man is also like completely shirtless at this point. He's like, I got a hot back now. Everyone's gonna see it.
Yeah.
And so he like goes down the hill a ways, basically from the little picnic, the Shogun's people, and Tomoari is there. And like, okay, there had been like a little cut to Tomoari's old monk group.
Mentor.
Yeah, like his mentor and like just the people that were like also in this order. And they're like, Tomoichi changed his name, like not even a part of us anymore. Like he's playing completely crazy new music, you know, and he's dressing like a prostitute. And so at this point we see Tomoari and he has got makeup on and he looks fine.
Bro.
I'm just saying, like, whew, you know.
I know.
So all the monks are bald, but Tomoari said, nah, I'm not about that. And so he's growing out his hair and his hair was long, you know, it's very like rock star-esque. I don't know. I had a great time with how their looks evolve over it, you know.
How are you blind and pick such fire looks? Like,
yeah, right. Like this man got style. And so like at this point with how everybody's presentations are going, you know, and like this little next moment where Inu-Oh is like reclining there on the hill with Tomoari and they're like sharing a flask of like sake or something, and you know they're just like passing it back and forth between each other, and I'm like, an indirect kiss? Are they gay? You know. I don't know.
This is like, where they kind of like cement their new personalities as adults, where Tamari is kind of like, I don't really like parties. And, you know, I'm a little bit of an introvert, and Inu-Oh is like, we gotta like smoosh up the rich people, man, that's part of the job.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a very cute scene.
But like, I don't know, they're definitely like older than they were when we first saw them meet. And so like you get the sense
like
that
maybe
like
30s, late
20s.
like
late 20s, you know. So I don't know. You get the sense that like these two have grown up together in a very, very real sense, and so they're definitely close because like they're performing in tandem with one another, you know, and just like what are these boys doing being so close to one another, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They've been so cute together.
Yep.
So they finally get to perform for the Shogun. It's a really big deal. Mm-hmm. His pregnant wife is stoked, but the Shogun is kind of like, not excited.
Yeah, and so like the Shogun and his wife and all of their
people.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're accoutrement, but like, you know, they're human people. They're not things.
All their concubines.
So who knows? You know. Like everybody else that's like, you know, part of the Shogun's deal. They're like all on this little island and they're having like their little picnic. They got their little blankets, you know, set out. I want to have a little picnic on a silk blanket, but that's unrelated to everything.
Nah.
But yeah, and so we see, I think it's very cute because I think in the last performance, we might have seen the beginning of this, but certainly in this performance, Inu-Oh's two brothers are also performing with him. They're like performing with their brother instead of their dad, who is throughout the whole movie.
I did not catch that.
I'm pretty sure it's his brothers.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, just because Inu-Oh's dad is kind of a jerk and has been pressuring his two other brothers to like dance better and be better, blah 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 blah. You know, like I'm a dad, I'm gonna live vicariously through you. You have to be as good, if not better, than me. I'm pretty sure it was Inu-Oh's brothers, who are like, we're gonna go perform with our brother because he's cooler.
Yeah, he's nicer to us.
Yeah.
So-
And Tomari has like the little band that he's accumulated throughout the performances. So he has someone on drums and someone on bass, question mark? Not sure exactly what instrument it is, but that's the vibe.
Yeah, and then how do you say his name?
Inu-Oh.
Inu-Oh is wearing a geisha mask, which is really cool. He has like kind of a purple pink costume on, and he does a ballet inspired dance on the water.
It's very fluid and just so flowy. He's got like these long fabric tendrils, coming off of him. It's gorgeous, and like it looks like they have.
He's like attached by strings somehow.
Yeah, like these wooden platforms that are resting like just barely beneath the surface of the water.
Oh yeah,
and it's like happening. It happens during the day, but like as the performance goes on, there's these really cool scenes where like you can see the sunlight filtering through the trees becoming, instead of like little circle,
because
like
it's
sunshine,
the eclipse.
Yeah, you start seeing them turn into like little crescents, and then you see the Shogun's wife like hold up her fan and like use it to shade her eyes, and you see the sun like being blotted out by the moon. So what started during the day is now like,
it's happening mid-eclipse.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
It is really neat.
And so like the lighting gets like super like ethereal as Inu-Oh is just gliding across the surface of the water.
And Inu-Oh is freaking, like, when he's done with his performance on the water, he kind of takes Tamari aside and he's like, I don't think I can transform for the end of the performance, because the idea is that he'll transform his face before he has to take his mask off.
Right. So that he doesn't make the Shogun mad.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, I got you. And Tamari uses the power of song to enter a transient state to figure out why Inu-Oh is cursed.
Right. And so he sort of gleans through whatever the powers that be.
Well, at first
are.
he like goes through his life and he's like, I already know this story.
Right. Yeah.
I need to find Inu-Oh's story. And he finds Inu-Oh's story.
Yeah. And so a little tidbit that we forgot to mention is that a bunch of the blind biwa playing monks had been murdered mysteriously.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the city. That's like such a footnote in the story writ large. Oops, sorry. We forgot to bring it up. But we see that Inu-Oh's dad made basically a deal with the spooky purple mask that he put on in the beginning to go out and kill a bunch of these blind biwa players who had been telling the story of the Heiki just throughout the years. And then also B, he offered up the innocence of his unborn child, Inu-Oh, in exchange for like fame and glory.
Yeah.
Except for whatever reason, you know how purple masks are. They don't play by your rules.
Yeah.
He said, nah, I'm gonna make your son famous instead. And so we see that it turns out Inu-Oh's dad really thought that he was going to be the one getting all the fame, and so he's been getting increasingly frustrated and upset throughout the whole movie, and it's because he's like, what did I do that metaphorical deal with the devil for if I'm not even going to reap the rewards?
Yeah.
And so he winds up like pleading to the mask because he's like watching this last performance, and
Yeah.
he's like, no, my son is so successful.
Like, hiding in like the roof.
Yeah.
Like in the roof of a
nearby building. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's spying. He's got his own little private roost, and he's like, no, that's not fair. That was supposed to be me. And then the whatever spirit or power the purple mask has sort of looks at him and is like, what's your deal? What's your problem? And he's like, that was supposed to be me. I need you to kill him. I need you to kill my son. And the mask is like, you want me to kill something
that you gave to me?
Yeah. Like, that's not how this works. I'm not playing with you anymore. Bye. And then splats.
Bro, yeah.
Inu-Oh's dad. It's kind of grisly.
Yeah. Like, there's not a whole lot of violence before this either, except for like maybe the dad being cut in half.
Yeah, like yeah, it was
good.
It was good. It was a little yucky, but like, I don't know.
It was neat.
It wasn't too bad. And so I was just like, ooh, good. This guy's gone, you know?
So because Tomari
Yeah.
has like discovered the secret of Inu-Oh's curse, Inu-Oh's able to restore his face, and he takes off the mask for the last little bit of the performance.
Yeah. And this man, handsome.
Yeah, he's hot as a fuck. He's
handsome
got
dude.
makeup too.
Yeah.
The performance ends. We kind of cut to Tomari wandering around the town, and he is stopped by the Shogun agents and is like, hey, you got to stop telling your Heiki stories that are not approved by the Shogun.
Yeah, like the Shogun wants only very specific stories that were about the fight on the Denoura, which is the river, to be told, and you're telling the wrong side. No, thank you.
And he was like, Tamari says, I won't, and I don't think Inu-Oh will either. And they're like, actually, Inu-Oh has already agreed to stop telling these stories.
Yeah. And so they rough Tomoari up real bad.
Yeah.
And so, okay, in the last movie that we watched, Patama Inverted, I thought it was a little silly because they're like, this is a serious dystopian sci-fi, and we're going to have a stern talking to with the people that are political dissidents. And I was like, what? They didn't even like break his legs. And then in this movie, they break the political dissident's legs. So Tomoari is having to like wheel himself around on a cart. And I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There's the realism I was missing from the last movie.
There you go.
We needed bodily horror.
So
Yeah.
we cut to Inu-Oh, who's visiting directly with the Shogun. They're like having tea or something.
Yeah, and the Shogun's like, haha, I liked your performance.
Yeah.
And Inu was like, thanks.
Worked hard.
I worked really hard on it. Thank you.
And he's like, but I want you to stop performing those stories.
Yeah.
And I like this scene a lot where it's Inu-Oh just looks furious for a second.
Yeah, he looks like he's on the verge of like smacking
gonna kill
somebody.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he like slowly forces himself to smile.
Yeah, and it's like I can still see like this frame in my brain. It like really stuck. I don't know why.
He kind of forces himself to smile and agrees. And I think that makes a lot of sense character-wise because he's finally accepted into society. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
he very much has like made it at this point, you know? And like as frustrating as it is, I don't think he would want to give that up,
yeah.
you know?
And I've been in, you know, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that before where you're like, you wanted an in on like a friend group or something so bad that you'll like agree to do anything almost. Yeah. So I kind of connected to that a lot. So we cut back to Tamari, who's completely distraught. He goes to his mentor, remember?
Oh, right. He goes back to the like the
monks'
house. You know, where they live.
the temple? I don't know. And they're like, bro, just change your name.
Yeah, like just be Tomoichi again, like, you know?
Yeah.
Like shave your head, you can join back in with us, just renounce everything and like it'll be fine, we'll cover for you. You know? And he like has a really hard time doing so.
And
He's
the
like,
Shogun agents show up to kill him.
Yeah.
And he still refuses. And right before they kill him, his mentor jumps in front of him.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
the agents kill his mentor on accident.
Yeah.
We cut back to Tamari, who's completely distraught. He is still telling stories with his biwa.
Yeah, I'm
but
pretty sure his legs
under
are
the
still
bridge,
broken.
Under the same bridge they used to perform.
Yeah. And there's plenty of people with swords who are there to silence him.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey man, you better stop saying that, like by order of the Shogun. Like that's not
Yeah.
that's not gonna fly."
And he doesn't, so they cut off one arm. And he keeps playing. And then they cut off another arm. But he keeps singing.
Yeah.
And then they behead him.
Yeah, and his last words are, "I'm Tomona of the Danoura,
Yeah.
which is the river."
Basically, like, going back to his original name, changing his name again, which will be important later, and admitting to who he is, or was. So, we cut to Japan. Modern Japan, right?
Yeah.
And Tomona's spirit, now Tomona, spirit sits and he's playing the biwa.
Yeah, and this is the same, like, very withered husk that we saw at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah. He's approached by another spirit. Turns out it's Inu-Oh. And he's like, bro, I've been looking for you for 600 years. You
Yeah.
changed your name. So it was really
Like,
hard
no
to
wonder
find
it was
you.
hard to find you, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, no, like, I've been here, I'm Tomona." And so there's, like, a very sweet little passage where they slowly revert back to...
Their child selves.
Yeah, like how they were when they first met to each other, and they're just kind of like each yelling out each other's names, like Tomona, Inu-Oh!
And they're dancing and playing.
Yeah, playing the biwa, and it kind of harkens back to the scene where they first like
Met.
yeah, on that bridge, you know, and they got to play music and dance with each other, and it was very cute and sweet.
Yeah. And then after that, there's a title card that explains that Inu-Oh went on to be a famous snow dancer, but he was forgotten after he died.
Yeah, like he was kind of lost to history, just his name remained.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, the other performance group that the Shogun really liked became really famous, and they kind of set the stage for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's basically it.
Yeah, and that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
So, you want to touch on those themes you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. So, okay. This a little bit touches into the fun facts.
Okay.
So the director, Masaaki Yuasa, mentions at some point, like in an interview, this is an interview with Looper.com, and the interviewer says Inu-Oh and Tomona play around a lot with gender presentation, and their music brings to mind queer rock stars like Freddie Mercury.
Oh.
When watching the film, and like I got Prince vibes, so there's not, there's something going on there. When watching the film, there were times I was wondering if the characters were gay lovers. Do you see their bond as romantic or just as friendship? And the director didn't outright confirm things, but he at least said, I actually avoided making it clear. I wanted it to be a gray area so whoever watches this movie can decide on their own. Just giving the personality to these characters, I thought that was enough. So, like, that's not the most, like, satisfying.
Yeah.
Because we love unequivocal representation where you can't argue it, it's exactly stated. But, like, between just how these two men act with each other, how they dress, and then also just, like, the fact that Tomona changes his name so many times, I think speaks to, like, just a very, very queer experience, of, like, deciding one's identity, and saying, like, no, this is the face I'm putting forward into the world. This is how you're going to address me as, like, I'm choosing who I am for myself. And so, I don't know. Like, that to me, I was like, I don't know if they meant this, but I'm certainly picking up on a little bit of this.
I grew up in a very, like, straight Christian household. And there's just kind of like a deniability, or like Freddie Mercury in our house was very straight. Period.
So straight. The straightest guy
So
ever.
was Prince and Michael Jackson, and they just acted that way because it was cool and rock starry to be feminine. Anyway, I kind of just realized when you were saying that that's kind of how my brain reverted to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That, I don't know, I was like, they're just acting that way because it's rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
gay. Like, it's crazy.
In a way, like, thank you, Freddie Mercury and Prince, for, like, being able to give so many people, the cover of, like, it's rock and roll, baby, don't worry too much about it, But, like, also, looking back on who those people were, like, there's a little something there,
Yeah. I don't know. I know Prince dated women, and I only know this because he dated a Broadway star I like.
Yeah.
But that's all I know.
Yeah.
But Freddie Mercury he definitely liked men.
Yeah. And, like, I'm not 100% up to date on my Prince facts. Theme of this podcast, I'm, like, so uneducated, I know very little about a lot of topics. I don't know a whole lot about any one specific thing. But, from my understanding, Prince did a whole lot of, like, fun gender stuff,
For sure.
Like, the fact that at one point they were like, no, I'm the artist known as Prince, I'm like, identity, pronouns, how you refer to me, go off.
Yeah, as far as, like, other themes, too, I really like the river, so he finds the sword in the river, they perform on a bridge.
Yeah, like, it kind of all comes back to, because, I mean, they're telling the stories of the Heike warriors, but then, like, they keep tying back
to water.
Yeah, to, like, that theme by, always performing next to the water or in the water even.
I wonder if it's because the Heike were, like, specifically water warriors or something.
I mean, the defining battle, like the battle that, like, they lost, happened on the river. So that's my feelings on it.
Okay, so overall, I love the style. The animation was crazy. I feel like this is going to be one of those films that, like, are really, really, really good and artsy and cool, but you find out later that was a complete flop at the box office for no reason.
I'm not entirely sure. I didn't even think to look that up. Oops.
Well, I mean, it's hard. And also, it's never accurate either, Yeah. At least in America. But, so I can imagine, like, it getting accurate numbers for an anime movie, especially one that came out, like, last year.
Well, it came out, I think, 2021.
Oh, okay.
So, like, peak pandemic.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Like, very, very much during the time when everyone was like, I don't know if I want to go into a movie theater and breathe the same air as everybody else. Ew.
Yeah.
Which, fair.
But yeah, the style was amazing. I really particularly liked the last performance. Like, the geisha, when he wears a geisha mask and he's, like, dressed pretty much as a woman, but he's shirtless. Mm-hmm. It really stuck in my brain. It was just, like, a really cool visual. That is probably the scene I remember the most vividly.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really great scenes that have, like, stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of really good visuals. I'm a very visual person.
Me too.
And so, I don't know. There's a lot of good things to look at in the movie.
And I'm usually not a rock opera fan.
Yeah.
But this is a very good rock opera. This is probably the best one I've seen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot though, to be fair.
This movie's great. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
So fun facts.
Yeah. So fun fact. I don't know if anybody. I think I mentioned his name earlier, but Masaki Yuasa, who is the director of this movie, also directed these little animes that you might have heard of called Keep Your Hands Off Izuken and Devilman Crybaby.
What?
And also
the show?
Yeah, and also Tatami Galaxy and The Night Is Long Walk On Girl.
Wait, this is that guy?
That's the same guy.
Oh my god.
That's the same dude.
The Night Is a Long Girl Walk On. I've been wanting to watch for years and I never got around to it.
Okay, well, we're definitely gonna have to like bump it a little bit further up the list if we like this movie so much.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe not like too close because we want to give other directors a fair shake. But yeah, I was shook when I saw that he directed Devilman Crybaby because like I had heard a lot about it. You know, I heard like a lot of the hype. I watched it way after everybody else had already seen it, but I did enjoy it and I thought it was very fun. You know, to look at visually.
I like that first episode. It put me off so much. I couldn't finish it, but
that's fair. I don't know. It had stuff going on, and
it was super. Everybody watched it when I was in college.
Yeah. And like I think very much in the sense that like I will think that most movies are good. I'm also willing to like sit through things that I don't 100% like immediately if there's like enough cool things going on, you know, visually or stylistically, which Devilman Crybaby definitely has. But I think I was more shook when I saw that he directed Keep Your Hands Off Izuken. That is one of my favorite animes. Like,
that sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
I have recommended it to you like 2 times. And it's
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Like, you know how recommending anime, especially series. I mean, it's not really a series. It's like 1 season, but still, you know. How
Wait, is this the anime club or the animation club?
Yes, it's so fun and cute. So Keep Your Hands Off Izuken is, I think it's like 12 episodes. It's really not that long. Go watch it, everyone, if you haven't seen it. It's delightful. It's so fun, but it's just like very lighthearted. And it's about these 3 girls who form an animation club in their high school, but their high school like is also like just everything visually in that anime is so fun and like just kind of like dialed up, you know, like they don't go to a regular high school. They go to a high school that's like has all these like canals, you know. It's like Japan meets like Venice, Italy, you know. There's just like a lot of like water and waterways and like bridges and like access tunnels and stuff. And so I don't know, it's a delightful watch. I saw it all the way through one time and then I started to rewatch somewhat recently. I need to get back to it because it's a great time. But also like the characters are just so fun. And like the 3 girls just like very much have their own thing going on, you know, and it's great. It's a good anime. Please watch it. Like the fact that these are, you know, 3 pieces of animation that all have very distinct styles. The fact that I didn't connect that they had the same director until I heard about it later kind of speaks to how unique each of their own styles are in and of themselves, you know? And so like, I guess if there's one thing to take away from this director is that like he will commit 100% to whatever style they land on.
Maybe that, you know, maybe that means the box office was pretty good because I know those are pretty popular movies.
Could be.
So I don't know.
But yeah, fun fact, the director has said that he wants to take it easy for a little while after this movie.
Don't blame him. This looked intense.
It's kind of great. Like he says that he's on a break from directing.
I'm pretty sure this movie was 24 frames a second too.
Yeah, like I applaud this director. Like we applaud Masaki-san for saying that he does not want to get burnt out and he's gonna like chill, you know, because the animation industry in Japan is like
crazy.
It's not conducive to like a great work-life balance. So I respect the heck out of this man for being like, nah, I'm a chill. You know, I'll get back into it when I get back into it. Fun fact. So the last movie that we watched, that director went on, the director of Padma Inverted, went on to direct a little movie called Sing a Bit of Harmony. And Masaki Yuasa actually says that that's like one of the things that he was really into at the time of this interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very fun. He name drops it.
I watched that movie recently.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last podcast. It's really cute.
Yeah, I just thought it was very cute that he recommended something from the past director that we saw.
And it's funny because it's not an artsy film at all. It's a very much like just a romp.
Yeah. But
so like, to go from that to like this really serious historical.
Yeah. I just think it's fun, you know? Small world. Like, everybody's connected and overlapping and stuff. This isn't so much like a fun fact, but another thing that I really like that this director did was like, okay, obviously, no, 600 years ago, they did not have electric guitar or rock and roll or like breakdancing. I know, it's crazy. They like probably didn't have all these things, and certainly not in the context that like we know them as, you know. Maybe there was a dance style that was similar to breakdancing that never got written down or recorded, but like, you know, they probably didn't know it as breakdancing. It didn't have the same cultural connotations. But he did say that like he made like a concerted effort to show things that have been recorded like as faithfully as possible, you know, like he definitely wanted to depict these people as they lived in that time period. But he also said that like, okay, people tend to think that the further we go back in history, the more primitive and barren the times were, but humans have been struggling to live and enjoy themselves for 10,000 years, so people are sure to have tried many different things during that time. I'd like to think that I created the film by putting myself in the place of the people that lived hundreds of years earlier. In my head, I can hear them saying, don't underestimate us and sell us short. And so, yeah, like, I just appreciate that he was like, you know.
Yeah. That's something I kind of like only came to or kind of discovered recently. I don't know, just because I never thought about it before, but I watch a lot of like historian YouTubers, and they always talk about how like people were not stupider, you know?
Yeah.
They were people. They just, like, the technology and convenience wasn't the same. And that's it. You know, people were still people. They weren't less smart than us. They just had different resources. And, yeah, anyway, that's cool.
And, like, sort of tangentially related to this, Masaaki Yuasa talks about how no theater is regarded now as, quote-unquote, something imposing. But, like, in the past, these traditional performing arts were popular entertainment, enjoyed by the masses. And so he kind of wanted to show what people back then found truly interesting in an unexpected way. So, like, I'm sure that, like, street performances back then probably looked more like, you know, traditional no theater now than they did rock and roll.
But they felt like rock and roll.
Yeah, like, that was, like, the coolest new thing that was happening. So, like, it's not unthinkable that, you know, people who were seeing these street performances wouldn't be, like, super moved, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. It's just, like, a very fun way of, like, reframing the past, you know? Yeah, also, he alludes to the fact that, like, when Tomawari plays the biwa behind his back, he's like, yeah, like, probably now you're going to be thinking that he's imitating Jimi Hendrix, but he claims to have seen an actual image of someone doing that same thing, but in ancient China, like a painting of someone playing the biwa behind their back, and I'm like, that's cool as heck, you know?
Yeah, that is cool.
Life imitates art imitates life, so on and so forth, you know? It's a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, I don't know, I just think that's fun. That, like, you know, he was ready. He was like, oh, you think it's like Jimi Hendrix? No. Jimi Hendrix is like this other guy.
No.
Ancient China.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, I was just telling Alex, like, I'm always surprised that you're able to find fun facts about these things. Because, like, I don't know, if we did this podcast, like, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Oh, it would be impossible. I love the internet. Thank you, Google. Like...
Bro, I'm actually pretty excited to do an anime podcast because, like, anime is expected to blow up in the next few years.
I feel like it already has. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it has.
Yeah.
But, like, get even bigger.
I'm here for it.
And so now I can be like, I was cool and did podcasting before everybody was in anime.
One thing that is touched on that I thought was really cool was, okay, so typically whenever I find these interviews, I really only find interviews with the directors just because, like, you know, Loki, the director, is kind of the sort of the unifying voice behind a whole project. But one thing that I think is very cool and fun that we should mention about this anime is that Inu-Oh is voiced by the artist known as Abu-chan. And from what I can tell, Abu-chan is doing a whole lot with gender.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So chan is a suffix that is typically for women.
Like cute.
Yeah, like you know, cute girls in Japanese, just the language. But from what I have seen, Abu-chan has removed all instances of, like, pronoun usage on their website, and so I'm just gonna stick with they because it's, you know, kind of gender neutral and respectful. I don't mean anything by it. I'm trying to be nice. Like, Abu-chan, if you hear this, my bad. If that's not what you wanted, like, let me know. I'll probably freak out. You know, I'll be like, oh yeah. But yeah, and so I just think it's very fun that, like, one of the producers for the film recommended Abu-chan as a voice actor, and Abu-chan is more of a musician than a voice actor. They had voiced something in Devil May Cry Baby and also, like, sang a song for it, and so that's, like, the one time that they had, you know, worked with each other before. But Yuasa said that, like, Abu-chan and also Tomonat's voice actor are young, sincere performers, and they have an image of being authentic and true to what they want to do, and they thought that they had that in common with the main characters in Inu-Oh. And I'm like, yeah, that's very sweet, you know? And like Yuasa also mentions like they're not professional voice actors, and at times it was difficult for them to perfectly sync their voices with the animated mouths, but when that happened, I encouraged them to focus on giving a good performance even if the animation and sound were out of sync. So he basically was like, I want a good performance, and like y'all are, you know, the people that are like, I don't want to say bringing the most life to these characters, you know, but like you're certainly like a big driving force, and like we can always go back and fix the animation to make it fit what you did, you know, but like your live recordings are like probably going to be more impactful, you know, like I don't want you to like restrain your performance based on what you think the animation like is calling for, you know, like I want you to like put your all into it, and then we can always go back, you know, adjust based on that. And so I just think that's very fun because animation's really hard work, and
yeah,
you know, like I feel for the animators that were like, I have to go back and redraw it, what? But like I don't know, I'm also a big softie when it comes to like live performance, and so I'm like, you like live performance, thanks bud, you know.
I can't believe they didn't do the, I know it's traditional to animate first and then do voice recording.
They did, and then he was like, if you don't line up perfectly, though, we'll fix it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
You'd think a musical one they would do the opposite.
That too.
But...
And then I did manage to find an interview with Abuchan, which is very sweet, I think. Abuchan mentioned that they had a surprising and scary amount of freedom when it came to expressing the character and style of the songs. And so Abuchan was like, what are you doing? I'm not a voice actor. What's happening? You know? But they were like, at first I was like, me? Is that really going to be okay? Because it was only my second time working as a voice actor. But then I started to realize that they chose me instead of a voice actor because they specifically wanted something that I could provide. And they were able to realize that early on. And so I'm like, yeah, that's very sweet. You know, like they wanted what Avuchan could bring to the table specifically. Like having heard their prior work and everything like that. And then they go on in the interview to talk about how both them and Inu-Oh are similar in that they both prioritize the performance and their skills over everything else. Like, they give it their all through that, so in that sense, they're kindred spirits. And I think that's very sweet.
Aww. I don't know. I do prefer, like, the quote-unquote authentic sounding. Like, it is really hard to watch dub now. Mm-hmm. Especially today, because the dub anime voice has kind of been perfected and cemented in a way that, like, it doesn't sound like a normal voice acting.
Yeah, I have not been a fan of dubs really, other than Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, I like them on comedies, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's serious, gosh, there was an anime I watched that was serious and it sounded like a comedy because of the anime voice, you know? Mm-hmm. Ochan!
Yeah. But what? You want me to go do that? Big brother, I don't know if I should do that.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so this, you want to know what this was ranked on?
Yes, please tell me.
Okay.
Oh, wait, should we give our rankings?
Oh, sure.
I think this is a 9 out of 10.
Me too. 9, like, I was going to say 8 maybe, but no, this is a 9.
Yeah.
This is really close to a 10 for me, actually.
I think so, yeah.
Like, I have no critiques, actually. Maybe it is a 10.
I think my only critique is that, like, I want more of it, you know? I was like, what do you mean the movie's over?
Oh, well, I guess.
Excuse you.
Okay, so I was surprised with the rock music just kind of showing up, like, halfway through. But, I don't know. I didn't mind it that much. I think if I made this movie, I would introduce rock themes into the score or something earlier.
Yeah, fair enough. So you get, like, a little taste. I think my only critique is that... So, there's the bit about how Inu-Oh's dad is killing these monks.
Oh, yeah.
To, like, release the Heike spirits, you know, as, like, part of his deal with the purple mask. My only thing is, that one specific thing was, like, not touched on a whole lot. It was, like, mentioned in passing. It was very much like oh, did you hear that this thing's happening? And they're like, what? That's crazy. We're gonna keep doing what we were doing, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I feel like if that had been expanded on, like, just a little bit, you know? It would have made the payoff at the very end where it's like, oh, it was Inu-Oh's dad doing that? A little bit more satisfying.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that thing. Oh, it was Inu-Oh's dad doing that? Oh, okay. You know?
Okay, so maybe this was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. But like,
I agree with you.
That's like, still pretty nitpicky.
9.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Solid 9.5.
Yeah.
I think we could argue for.
So this was rated 7.8 stars out of 10.
Well, they're wrong.
I know. That's offensive to me.
Well, they're incorrect.
And it's by 7,000 users. 7,300 users.
All right, time to make a bunch of fake accounts.
Bro, yeah.
We'll bump these numbers up.
Dude. And then it's ranked 963. By the way, So last time you were kind of like, I don't know how my anime list works. I
Yeah.
think I figured it out.
Okay.
So it's based on the out of 10 stars rating.
Okay. And then just like how many anime there are.
Yeah.
So like all of like the 10 out of 10 anime are going to be like the first like 100 or whatever.
There's no 10 out of 10 anime.
Oh, well, okay. All the 9.9 out of 10.
I think the highest one I saw was a 9.7 out of 10. That's not the number one anime.
These are harsh critics.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean? You mean weebs?
Weebs?
You think weebs are accepting of any media whatsoever? But anyway, so I think that's wrong. Just me personally. I think this was the best movie we've watched so far.
I think this was the best movie that we watched so far. Because it had a great story and it had great animation to go with it. And so we kind of have, we went from Blue Giant, where I'm like, the story's great, animation a little crunchy, to Pediment Inverted, where I'm like, the animation's great, story a little thin.
crunchy.
It's just a little thin.
Fun. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. And this was well-rounded.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, and I guess the sword never came back, like I mentioned in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and then,
so I mean, like, yeah. There's like some... It was a long movie, but like, even still... Eventually you add so many elements that it's just kind of hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
And however, I don't
this
even
is based on a novel, too. So I'm guessing the novel... Like,
I'm
the
sure
story and the novel... Yeah, like, the novel probably has more context. There's probably historical context for missing.
Yeah.
Which
Just by virtue of not having done Japanese history, we did Texas history instead. So,
I know a little bit about the Texas government, but, Yeah.
I heard the story of the Alamo a couple times, so, if this anime were based on that, well, shoot, you wouldn't need to fill in all that for me.
Bro, do you know that, like, because of my heritage, quote unquote, I can join the Daughters of the Republic and be in charge of the Alamo?
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I can vote on, like...
I want you to be in charge of the Alamo. Please be in charge of the Alamo.
I don't really want to. It sounds
I can't believe you're
not very
the Alamo.
PC. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Maybe
it
is
the Alamo.
My grandma does it, so
dang.
And I trust my grandma, so
you should ask her what it's like.
Yeah, she asked me to do projects for her all because I'm a graphic designer. So she asked me all the time to do stuff for her.
Can your grandma get me into the Alamo after hours?
No, to do what? To do what, Alex?
I don't know. Figure it out when I get there. Just turn all the security cameras off. I'm not gonna do anything like too nasty.
One time I went to a trivia night and they were like, hey, can you guess what this building is? And it was a window of the Alamo.
And you're like, that's the Alamo.
Yeah, literally. And then everybody was like, how do you know? And I'm like, bro, just trust me, bro. And everybody was like, I'm not sure, it might be something. And I'm like, no,
it's the Alamo.
It's the Alamo.
I know this.
And I was right, and everybody was like shocked. And I was like,
clearly they don't remember. God.
I was like, there's one rule.
Just remember the Alamo.
Okay, so what media have you been watching lately?
Oh my gosh, what media have I been doing lately? Oh, so most of the media that I consume is little audiobooks, because that's just how my job is,
That's fine.
I can listen to a lot of audiobooks at work. It's great. I have been listening to The Expanse, the 9-book long series in space. It's fun. And by fun, I mean a little bit. Sometimes it makes me sad, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
Is it good sci-fi if it doesn't make you a little sad? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You need to be thinking thoughts about, existence and the universe and, just the human condition. But yeah, I'm on the last book. I'm having a great time. I'm reading it because one of my friends was like, hey, I will listen to books that you like if you listen to books that I like. And I said, that's fair. And so I'm making him listen to Wheel of Time, which is way longer, and I feel a little bad, but I'm listening to The Expanse, and it's good. He did a good recommendation. Thank you, Noah.
Oh, it's Noah. I was about to ask who.
It's Noah, yeah. It's my buddy Noah. We are both friends, and we work together as coworkers. It's fun. But yeah, 10 out of 10. I guess I can't tell you if The Expanse ends well, because I'm on the last book, and I haven't listened to all of it yet. But I haven't thoroughly enjoyed every book that I have listened to so far.
Well, good. How many books are there?
9, and I'm on the 9th one.
Okay, yeah, you said that.
There's a dog in the 8th book. The dog survives, at least until the 9th book.
Yay.
From what I can tell.
He's in space?
In space! The dog has to go into space!
Oh my god.
And they The Expanse is hard sci-fi in that, it's not...
There's rules.
Yeah, there's rules. They're very concerned with, the physics of things. One thing that, I never thought about, in other sci-fi, other than, maybe Ender's Game, but is, the idea of gravity and, different ways to fake it while you're in space, Because there's, gravity when you're on a planet, And then there's, ways to fake it, either under thrust, so, if spaceship push, have explosion on back that push through space, and you stand perpendicular to it, then you're going to be like, look at all this gravity. Look at how much I am pushed into this floor. And then there's also the idea of like, if we take basically a wheel and make it hollow and we spin it and you're on the inside of the wheel, centrifugal force will make you go, gravity, yum. I love gravity as a person who grew up probably with gravity. And so, yeah, like, I don't know. I've never thought about it. Like, I thought about it a little bit with Ender's Game because, like, the enemy's gauge is down, yada, yada. But yeah, so I don't know. It's fun when the dog get to go to space because the dog is like, I don't know what's going on. I'm a dog. I'm wagging my tail and I'm just like rotating all over the place, you know, when we're in no gravity, when we're in null G. So I don't know. It's cute and silly. And also they're like, wow, dogs shed a lot. And it's messing up the air recyclers. And I'm like, oh no, the filters are clogged with dog hair.
Where did the dog come from?
The dog came from Earth and then it went to a planet. And I don't want to give spoilers in case someone is like on just part of the Expanse that's 8. Like, yeah. You will meet the dog in Book 8. The dog's name is Muskrat, and I love that.
Aww.
Especially because, okay, this is like a big tangent. So, one of my childhood dogs was named Muffin, and she was like a little Chihuahua small dog mix, you know, like she just had small dog stuff going on. She had like long hair and was just like, she was just a little lady, you know, she was a small little dog. And in combination with like how small and like low-key, like, you know how little dogs are just afraid of everything all the time,
yeah,
you know, she kind of had that going on. So between that and the fact that her name was Muffin, my grandpa, who was just a big jokester and who also was like a little bit hard of hearing and would like kind of lean into it for comedy, who would be like, hey, where's your dog at? Muskrat, you know. We'd be like, no, her name's Muffin, stop, be nice. And he'd be like, yeah, that's what I said, Muskrat. And so I'm listening to this, you know, sci-fi book series and they're like, here's this dog named Muskrat, and I'm like, what?
That's great.
I'm like, Muskrat, that's silly. So it's good books. 10 out of 10. Do recommend.
Man, yeah, I don't listen to audiobooks that often. I think I need to because I keep running out of podcasts. But
I'm having the opposite problem where I'm running out of audiobooks and I need to start listening to podcasts. The nice thing about an audiobook is that once you buy it, there's no ads, and so there's nothing to interrupt the flow of entertainment into my brain. And then I go and listen to a podcast and I want to scream every time there's like a get better this with this service. You should pay money to this service so that maybe they'll stop advertising on the podcast you like to listen to. And it just makes me insane and feral.
I don't know. I don't mind the podcast ads all the time because usually I like it when they read them out themselves. But I don't know. I'm also a marketer, so like I have to like learn ads.
See, and I'm listening at double speed, so I'm just like, oh my god, get it over with, you know?
You're like, not fast enough.
Not fast enough. It drives me insane. I have to, but also like, I don't know. The way that I work at work, like the less I interact with my phone, the better, you know, like just for like what I'm doing a lot of stuff with my hands. And so like, I don't want to have to put down whatever I'm working on to then go and touch my phone and like skip, you know, the like 1 minute and 30 seconds that the ad read is or whatever. Every like 20 minutes, it kind of drives me insane. So audiobook, you don't gotta do that, baby.
I know. I don't listen to that many big podcasts anymore anyway. So I don't really encounter that anymore. Mm-hmm. In fact, like the one I really listen to a lot now, they were like, yeah, we do not break even on this podcast.
Oh no!
And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I'm not going to contribute either. Enjoy this one view. Right. One extra view that you got. But anyway, they're great though. I do like it. Speaking of audiobooks, like I said earlier, I've been reading Workouts.
Yes!
It's good. And it's really funny. So we were driving home, me and my fiance. We're driving to my parents. My fiance. You know, people say like boyfriend sounds bitchy.
Yeah.
You know, like my boyfriend.
Can my boyfriend come?
But fiance is like so much worse. Like, why is it French? Like, you know,
it's both worse and better.
No, it's not.
Well, because it's like I'm better than you. I'm about to be married,
bro. Yeah, and so
I don't know. I love it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm here for it.
I do like it in the fact that, like, you know, men, when they hear boyfriend, they're like, oh, I have a chance.
Yeah.
And I think for whatever reason, fiance is like, back the fuck up. Like, no. And in fact, I've been enjoying wearing a ring so much that I'm not married, but I wear a silicone ring if I'm not wearing my regular ring.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm just like,
you're like, no.
Yeah. Like, men do not approach me that often, but when it does happen, it annoys the hell out of me. Or even when men look at me a little too long,
and
I'm
like, no, stop it, turn around,
stop. Anyway, so now I wear a ring all the time, and it's really nice. And so far, it hasn't been that bad.
You're gonna have to tell us how it goes on your trip they're going on.
Oh yeah, I insured it. Don't worry.
Oh, not like that. I just mean like if people are gonna bother you on your little trip that you're going on.
Yeah. I hope not.
And you can go like, and flash it.
I am my fiance.
Sorry.
Taken.
Oh my god, I hope that showed up on the mic. Miss Agatha has things to say.
She's playing with her toy and she wants me to go look at her.
Oh my gosh. She did it. She's a huntress.
Oh, but we were listening to Warrior Cats on the way, and I didn't know this, but John had read the Warrior Cats.
What?
As a child, yeah.
Oh my god.
And so did his sister, so.
Oh my god.
I know. And I said this before, but like being an adult for me is just meant like getting into things that I thought I was too cool for before.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like that includes anime, and that's been really great for me. Mm-hmm. But also Warrior Cats, because I was too cool to read Warrior Cats.
Not me.
For whatever reason.
I was a little freak.
And I missed out. Like, it is incredible.
It's so fun.
It's really good.
It is not high art, but it is a good time.
Yeah.
And like that.
Well, like, I mean, I'd argue like the first couple of chapters, high art. Just me.
All right.
The visuals are so good,
yeah.
and it's not just like My Little Pony rules where they're like my pony and
so like
prints and.
So okay, I do think that there is a point in the series where the quality kind of drops off, because I think that it's a certain point Aaron Hunter realized that they had a cash cow.
Yeah.
You know?
And then they started distributing it to other authors.
Well, okay, so fun fact, Aaron Hunter is a pseudonym that like at least 3 authors used like as a group. So even like the first books are written by like 3 people, but like in
okay,
like working with each other. I think that like they both got lazy a little bit, and then like also so like there's some elements of magic and or the supernatural in Warrior Cats, you know, and then it gets, in my opinion, just like a lot hokier. After a certain point, you know. And so like I don't want to tell you when I think that point is, just in case you like blaze past it and you're like, I'm having a great time, these are all great books, you know. But there was a certain point when like in elementary school and middle school where I was like, this was a little silly, you know. I'm like, I'm not here for this part, you know.
My tastes are developing.
Yeah. So like I think there's a point that you should stop at, but that's just me.
Yeah. I'm just impressed, like, I said, it's not just My Little Pony rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they thoroughly thought about what a cat experience would be and what certain things they wouldn't know. Like, John had to explain to me, like, what they talk about something called, like, the Thunder
Path.
Yeah, the Thunder Path of the gray monsters. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just, like, a magic thing I didn't understand. And John goes, hey, by the way, those are cars. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, someone had to tell me when I was a kid. And I was like, man, that's crazy. That makes so much sense why they wouldn't know what that is.
It's very fun.
Anyway,
there is, so in Warrior Cats, sorry to make this a Warrior Cats podcast, but I'm not sorry.
Warrior Cats podcast.
Yeah. So Warrior Cats is about these like feral clans of cats that live in the woods, and they live like without any humans. And it's a big deal when the main character of like the first 6 books, Firepaw, who then goes on and gets warrior name and like everything, so I'm not gonna spoil it because you're not there yet, but like he formerly was like owned by humans, and so he was known as like, you know, Rusty, and like he was known as a kitty pet to the, you know, the clan cats who live in the forest, and they're like, you're just a kitty pet, you're used to a soft life where people feed you, you know, like we're real warriors, we have to go hunt for our food and we have to protect our territory from other clans. And he's like, what? Huh? And so yeah, Rusty gets to be our little stand-in, you know, our little audience stand-in, where we get to learn along with him. It's great. It's a good framing and narrative device. But there is a post that I saw on the internets, because a lot of the kitty pets like know the human words for things, you know, such as car and vet and stuff like that. Well, no, they call the vet something else. Anyway.
No, I mean, the house pets do know vet, but the other cats call him the cutter.
Oh, right.
Oh my god, that shit got so real so fast.
Yeah, they're like, this other cat that I know got really lazy after he went to the vet.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's because he got neutered.
Dude, yeah, they straight up were like, they're like, Rusty's like, oh, I don't know if I want to become a warrior cat. That sounds hard. And they're like, just wait until the vet cuts your balls off. Yeah. Basically. I was in the car with John, and he's listening, and we both looked at each other like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like children's book.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, they kind of talk around it pretty tactfully. You know, they're like, oh, you're still a tomcat.
It's still like a little,
They're like, you're still a tomcat. And he's like, what? And they're like, you haven't been to the cutter yet.
You're still a man.
God. But yeah, there's a joke that like, in addition to knowing all like the quote unquote correct like human terms for things, that kitty pets and former kitty pets would know swear words.
and so
they'd be like, oh, careful, there's a monster. it doesn't look like it's, awake right now. It looks like it's asleep, but we gotta be careful, otherwise it might run us over like it does on a thunder path. And then the kitty pet's like, you mean the fucking car? It's silly.
It's good. I
They're
really
good,
recommend it.
but
And like, the narrator is really good.
The narrator's so good. Everybody give McLeod Andrews $5 if you see him in person. Here you go for your work on Warrior Cats. Thank you, sir.
The thing I really want to talk about, that the only other person I could possibly talk about it with was John, and he's really not interested in it because I think Superman is hot as fuck in this. It's My Adventures with Superman. It's the HBO Max like animated show, and I fucking love it because it's a rom-com.
Oh,
it's an animated rom-com, and I really like all those like the Harley Quinn show. Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about that? Mm-mm. It's raunchy and really violent, and I thought I would like it, but I really don't. I don't know. It's too gritty for me, I think. But going from that to watching My Adventures with Superman, which is just Superman is just a soft boy who's like 6'5" and
we
huge.
love Clark Kent.
He's just
a little farm boy.
He's so cute. Like and I started watching it because I saw the trailer and I thought he was hot.
Yeah.
He's even hotter in the show because he's a soft boy and he just has a crush on Lois Lane, and the whole show is just like him being like soft boy about it.
Aw, that's fun.
I know. I really had a good time, and it was really funny too because it's literally like the last 2 episodes they remember. They're like, oh yeah, we should probably put some action in this show because it's like a Superman show. But,
yeah.
And I'm going to be really sad if it doesn't get renewed, but it kind of has the energy of something that will not get renewed.
Womp womp.
I know. But if you haven't seen it and you have any, like, if you had like a Superman or a DC comic phase like I did, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, and then as far as anime, I just finished Dance Dance Dancer, which is a shoujo anime about a boy doing ballet, and it was animated by Mappa.
Oh, wow.
I know. It was really interesting because, like, Mappa does Hell's Paradise and Jujutsu Kaisen. And I'm pretty sure this was done a little bit before they were cemented as seinen type anime studio. But it was really good. I really liked it. I'm really sad it's only 12 episodes. And it was one of those ones that it felt like it could have definitely used a second season, but because it's a shoujo anime, we probably won't get a second season.
Yeah. What shoujo anime has 2 seasons?
No. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know any.
Yeah.
What's that one with the redheaded girl who's a princess? That's an action show.
You know way more.
That one got several seasons. I know that, but it's like the most popular action shoujo, and I can't find it.
Revolutionary Girl Utena?
No, that's a good guess. I think that has more than 1 season.
Yeah, but like
Something of the Dawn.
Oh, no, I don't know.
It's gonna drive
Revolutionary Girl Utena is like a shoujo, but it's
Yona of the Dawn.
It's like a magical girl shoujo, so like I don't know. I feel like the rules are slightly different.
Yeah, magical girl. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely usually has more seasons. But well, anyway,
yeah,
Superman's really hot. I love this series.
Warrior Cats is really good.
Yeah, that Superman series, I loved it so much. I literally started watching all the old Superman movies.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like apparently it's based on like the ones from the 70s, and it makes total sense because the Superman movie from it's the Superman movie from 1978, I think. It's silly. It's really silly, and it's mostly a romance movie, so it makes sense.
Amazing.
Go watch it. I really liked it. There's not a lot of violence, but it's made for adults at the same time, and there's not a lot of sex either. So I don't think there's any sex actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, good show.
Good show.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this one. So I mean, we had a good time watching this movie. We definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it already. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool talking to y'all.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Lori, for being our number 1 fan.
Thanks, Mom. I do not know what movie we're watching next. I think it's your picks. I just get to be surprised.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for reminding me. I'm really excited. This is the first time, because like basically I made the list.
Yeah.
And then the first movie we just saw because it was like in theaters and it was convenient.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 you picked, and it was more like I wanted you to pick because I made the list, so it felt fair to like.
Yeah.
But anyway. But this is my first official pick, and I'm really excited because I'm picking Josie and the Tigerfish.
Oh.
It's a newer romance anime,
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Talk about
and
feelings next time.
I know. I'm really excited. It's modern too. I feel like it's a little different from what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice break. But I'm really scared because in the poster someone's in a wheelchair, and that usually reads to me as like tragic romance, and I'm a little scared. But
I guess we'll find out.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Alex,
I'm Abby.
and thanks for listening.
Yeah, see ya. Weebs.
Bye, weebs.
Bye.